Well, let's hear what Richard L. Spencer, original singer from the Winstons and copyright holder of the Amen Brother track, has to say about all of this. We asked him what he remembers about recording the track.
We just went into the studio. We had done the A side over a period of time, and we needed a B side. And we had this instrumental that we used when we were playing behind Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions. So there was nothing. It was a fairly uneventful affair for us. It was so normal and so regular, it's almost embarrassing to talk about it, actually, as something special.
When did he find out that the break had been sampled in so many tracks?
Well, around 1996, I was still in Washington, D.C. I was attending university and working transit system, and I received a call from a record company, obviously they're in the UK, called Strut Records. And there were some young men who were trying to get control of the master to Amen Break. And I said, well, you know, I own the copyright to the tune, but I haven't had a conversation about any of that stuff in 25 or 30 years at that point. 116 tracks by that time.
And how did he feel about it?
I felt as if I'd been touched somewhere that no one was supposed to touch. You know, your art is like your children. It's like a part of you, and it's not like you go around thinking about your children all the time. You love them. I felt invaded upon. I felt like my privacy had been taken for granted. And again, as a historian, as a social scientist, I also felt like the history of African-American music from the 1800s to the present basically carted off by other people and used, and they became very wealthy and rich. And we usually, you know, have been left out. I mean, you know, Big Mama Thornton had worn the hound dog out before Elvis Presley got it, but Big Mama Thornton died broke. Elvis Presley died almost a billionaire. There's no need of me being angry about it. There's nothing really that I can do about it unless people out of the goodness of their heart go, hey, you know, I got this black guy over there and we've taken his music and used it and made money off it. We've never paid him. So, you know, it's just, you almost have to do like we did when we gave up Africa. You just have to kind of say, well, that's the way it is.
What would he say to producers that have used the break over the years?
I'm flattered that you chose it, but, you know, make it a legal interaction here. You know, pay me. The young man who played that drum beat died homeless and broke in Atlanta, Georgia, around 1996. It might have been a little later than that. Gregory Coleman. Now his kids walking around who were probably struggling. Do the right thing, you know. You were able to find the music and use it. You know, say, hey, here's son, here's brother, here's my fellow artist, here's your share of the loot.
And what does he think the fascination with the Amen Break is?
I have no idea. And, you know, I have thought about it, and I've listened to other drum breaks from that era. Maybe when you create something, you're not as impressed by it as people who are outside of it. Some people came in on a film interview, and they had gone down to Lefebvre's studio. They had taken pictures of where the drums were sitting. They interviewed the engineer. They wanted to know if there was certain sunlight coming in the studio. I mean, no. Just a damn drum solo. That's it. It was nothing.
As a DJ, I've always been more on the side of free use of samples in music, unless it's someone like Kanye West sampling a track and making loads of money off it. Should the Winstons really have been paid for a 6-second drum beat? Before we spoke to Richard, I would have said no. But now I've heard this point of view, it's hard not to feel like they should have got some cash for it, especially when we find out the drummer died penniless and homeless. But where do you draw the line? Should they get royalties for every bit of hi-hat or snare used? And how would you go about collecting payments from hundreds and hundreds of records that use the Amen Break? It's something that's up for debate, I guess. So what's the future of the Amen Break?
I haven't used it for years. If I have used it, it's just been in the background, a little layer, a long time ago, but just for the bit that I like, which is the top end of rides.
But I haven't personally heard any interesting usage of it, or at least anything that's made me think, oh wow, something different with Amen, not for a long time. Not that it's had its day, but it's kind of had most things done to it.
It's fallen out of favour with some, but it seems like this break will always be used.
A couple of years ago, all my people stopped using it, but it's back with a vengeance suddenly. One of the singles on the record is called Collapse of History, and it's using the Amen break. I actually thought about doing another maybe full like double album or something only with that beat, just to make a statement. I mean, there's so much you can still do, you know.
As music is secular and generational, by the time I got sick of hearing those records, you then get a whole new generation that reinterpret them and change it, and then suddenly a few years later it's like, oh wow, that sounds good again.
If it's rebuilt in the right way, that style can come back again, because it's very it's got a lot of accents to it, which a lot of music nowadays is really flat, and when it comes to accents there's not much dynamics in it. Yeah, it can be brought back again, yeah.
We've got loads of tracks on the go at the moment with the Amen.
The Amen is not dead.
It's not dead at all. It's back with a vengeance for sure.
I've got 3 or 4 tracks at the moment, like not finished, just in cycle loop mode with Amen in.
I can't imagine a time where the Amen break's going to be put to bed.
We'll be long dead and buried, and our kids will be probably flying around in motors and all the rest of it before that break is dead. That break has stood the test of time.